your money like your children. Do you let your children run wild? Do you let your children do whatever they want to do? But oftentimes we're sitting here saying, no, I know I had $200, I had $300. Can't figure out what happened to that money. If you wouldn't let your children run wild, you can't let your money run wild. So if you want to know where your children are at all times, if you want to, and in order to do that, you put restrictions and you put limitations on your children. You say you can't be here. You've got to be home by dark. At a certain time, you need to call me and let me know what you're doing. Okay, those are some of the things that you do with your children. Then you look at your money and you forget all of that because your money's quite valuable. You know, and if you're not really managing it properly, it will take you to places you never intended to go. Trust me. And then you'll be looking back saying, what happened to it? Where did my money go? You know, so it's so important that you just learn some basic things, and if you're able to take your money and actually devise a spending plan, and again, all a spending plan is taking every dollar of your income and spending it on paper. And if you spend it on paper first, what you'll find is that you will know exactly where your money went, okay? You won't be wondering, okay, what happened to my money? Because you'll know exactly where it went. Okay, and the other thing about a spending plan is, I see the spending plan is, it's your roadmap for success. So, you know, I heard somebody say, I know who it was, I heard Carla Denson say in the in one of the meetings we had over at CEOSpace, she said, for your business, you've got to have a plan in place. Well, that's the same thing with your money. If you don't have a plan, it's going to do what it wants to do. The second thing that you want to do is, because a lot of times people come to me and they're like, Kim, I make money, I know I make good money, but I don't know what happened to it. I don't know where it is. Start doing little things like tracking the money. When you track the money, you will find out where it is. It's really that simple. Start tracking the money, and then I think one of the best things to do in order to really figure out where your money is going and how much money you're spending, because a lot of times you may not know how much money you're actually spending. The best way to figure it out is, you know those plastic things we have in our wallets? Take them out. Take all the plastic out. Whether it's an ATM card or a credit card. Take it out of your wallet. And I challenge you to take it out for 2 weeks. Now, most people tell me, but I can't live without it. You know what? Let me tell you, the reality is ATM cards really create a false sense of security for us. They really do. We're thinking, okay, but if an emergency happens, I need to have that card. I can't go anywhere without that card. That card will handle any emergency I have coming up, but you got $2 in your account. It won't. It really won't. So I challenge each of you to take the card out of your wallet for 2 weeks. The reason I always encourage people to do that is, when you take that card out of your wallet for 2 weeks, you begin to create a new relationship with your money. You know what you're going to find? You're going to find that you don't want to give it as freely. You're going to be walking into stores saying, came in here for that. I got this amount of money. I think this is where I'm going to stay. It's so amazing how, you know, you can go to the grocery market, for instance, and you will plan. Target gets me every time. I will go into Target, and I promise you, I don't care how much, I only have a few minutes, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to run into Target, I'm going to get 2 things, and I'm going to be right out. If you have that card, I guarantee you, you're not going to leave out of Target without spending $50. I don't care if what you went in there for initially only cost $2, you're going to leave out spending $50, okay? So, what I have found, if I walk into a store with a certain amount of cash, you know what's going to happen? I'm going to be very selective, because nobody wants to be standing in the line saying, I got to put that back, I got to put that back, I got to put that back. So if you are willing to endure the challenge of using cash for 2 weeks, like I said, you're going to find that you have a whole new relationship with your money. You're not going to want to spend it as quickly. And you know, when you start swiping that card, something really amazing happens. You start feeling empowered with every swipe. Again, it's a false sense of security, because you're really believing that, oh, I can just swipe and get what I need. But what's happening is you're blowing the budget. You know, I've seen and I've done myself. When you take that card, you will start spending in other areas that you never planned to spend in. So it's so important that you learn to get a handle on that money, and and by using cash for just a couple of weeks, you will begin to create a new relationship with your money, and you'll know exactly where it went, and you won't overspend, because cash doesn't let you overspend. If it's not in your wallet, you can't spend it. Okay? And then if you look at your budget and you realize after doing all this tracking that, you know what, I'm just spending way too much money. Okay? If you find that you're spending way too much money, it might be a good time for you to start figuring out where I can start making some cutbacks. Because the cutbacks that you need are what's going to help you not blow the budget. You know, sometimes when we're just out there, we're just spending the money, spending the money, spending the money. We're thinking that, okay, I can spend the money and I'll be just fine and I'll count for everything when I get home. And then you're going to get home and find out, whoops, spent the bill money. Got a little bit too overzealous when I was shopping. So it's really important that you stay in touch with the money. And if you find that your budget is constantly over, can I tell you that that's a sign that maybe your budget is in a little bit of crisis and you're spending too much money? I have people that tell me all the time, well, I can't get rid of my credit card, Kim, because my credit card helps me to get, what I do is I put everything on the card, and at the end of the month I figured out, you got some brave people, because if I had to do everything on a credit card first, let me tell you, I would spend that credit card to a whole new level, whole new limits. So I think it's a better strategy for you to figure out what your budget is, what your needs are, and then if you have to make cutbacks, be adults about it. Don't stand there in line, put the card away, and just make the cutbacks. The next tip is, because most of us here are entrepreneurs and business people, sometimes with our business, especially when the business starts going really well, we start getting this sense of security. Oh, things are going great. I can do this. I can go buy this. I can go buy that. And then somehow, even though we're working in the business, we're not focusing on the business the way we need to sometimes, and things start to slow down a little bit, and we start wondering, uh-oh, got all this stuff. There are some issues in business. There's some things that I need to do differently in business. Well, found a really good remedy for that. My remedy is, in business, and that's what I love about CEOSpace, stay innovative, stay creative. If your business is doing really well and you've got a product, let's say, or a service that's doing very well, figure out how to leverage that product or service so that it's creating multiple streams of income for you. What I oftentimes tell my clients who are not in business, I'll tell them, figure out how to create multiple streams of income for yourself. But if you're already in business, sometimes you have a product or an idea that you just haven't capitalized on. And if you learn to capitalize on that idea, what will happen is you'll be able to figure out multiple ways that one idea can create different opportunities within your business. As a financial advisor and coach, I do a lot of things. I coach people on money. Hasn't taken away from my passion for money. I teach classes on money. Hasn't taken away. I do programs. So there's so many different things that you can do. It's just a matter of you really looking at your product or your service and being willing to leverage that and say, you know, what else can I do? Because one area, maybe you have an area of your business that's seasonal, that area could dry up. And if it dries up, you don't want to be left there trying to figure out, oh my goodness, what am I going to do next to keep my business going? You want to always be innovative, always be thinking about different ideas that you can use to really grow and develop your business. And don't wait till the last minute to do it. Don't wait until, you know, this business is completely, you know, things are completely drying up. Now you got to figure out what you're going to do next. Okay, and then my next tip, this one I got from a book that I absolutely love called The Richest Man in Babylon. Anybody read that book? I think everybody in the room here should be raised because it's an amazing book. But one of the principles that it drives home constantly is putting away 10%. 10% of everything you earn. 10% of everything you earn. That's a concept you need to marry. And I know that's really hard for us entrepreneur people because we don't think about saving. We think about putting every dollar that we have into our businesses, right? That's our concept. But then something happens when you fall into a hardship in terms of maybe, you know, the car broke down, you had a major plumbing issue or what have you. What happens is because you haven't saved anything, you don't have anything to fall down on, and then you start trying to get to that credit card again, and then that creates a whole new bill. You couldn't afford it in the first place. Now you got this credit card bill coming in at you with interest. So it's really important that you create a habit now of putting away that 10%. And I want you to put away the 10% strategically. Your goal is to actually set up what's called an emergency fund. I know you guys have heard about an emergency fund, but if you set up an emergency fund, that emergency fund, which you'll be really surprised, will actually catch those unexpected things that you weren't expecting to come up in your budget, but happen to most people, especially when they don't have an emergency fund. So, really important, learn to say, put aside 10% of everything you earn. And I love the way Babylon put it, because he said, for every $10, put $1 away. And then my final tip is, and this one I think is really important for entrepreneurs, get 1 month ahead of your expenses. Full month ahead of your expenses. You understand what that means? That means that if you are making money this month, it should go to pay the expenses for next month. Really important concept if you're an entrepreneur. Do you know why? That concept is so important because I don't know about you, but I've had contracts that paid late. And I think there's nothing worse than having to sit there, know you got bills and things that are coming in, and you're waiting for that contract to pay. Doesn't quite work. So if you get a whole month ahead of your bills, what you'll find is that even though that contract may be taking a little bit longer to pay, you're okay because this month's bills are already taken care of, and anything that comes in now applies to next month's bills. Trust me, it's a concept that you will absolutely love, and it will work for you every time. And the best way to do that is to get that full month ahead is to have 1 month of expenses in the bank, or you can actually start paying some of your bills a little bit early. Okay? So those are my tips that I wanted to leave you guys with in finance. I hope that they help you and they change the way you look at money. There's so many things that, there's so many products and there's so many tools out there that can really help you with your money. One of the things that I learned is that because so many people don't like to talk about money, it's a good time to start dialoguing with other people about what they might be doing, what's working for them. One of the things that I'm just really enjoying about CEOSpace is that I went there with this vision, saying that, I'm a financial coach and I like to speak and teach and I like to do these things and I like to help people with money. And after going to CEOSpace and coming back, now I've established this I'm on the move to establish this national campaign on empowering women to wealth. And in this campaign, my goal is to establish a platform where women can actually come together in one space and get resources and get information and get answers so that they can go to one safe haven, one safe place and get all the information that they need regarding their personal finance, because not enough of us is talking about it, and maybe you don't feel encouraged or you're ashamed to walk into a class and actually learn about money in that way. But if we can create a safe place for people to go and to get information, I think that this world will definitely be a better place, because ultimately, I don't know that you guys know this because everybody always says to me, Kim, why are you targeting women? Because 76% of households, in 76% of households, the women manage the money. Did you know that? Incredible. So we're working right now to develop this national platform thanks to CEOSpace. I'm so grateful to be here. I thank you guys for your time. If you have any questions regarding money, feel free to pull me aside. I'll be happy to answer. Thank you so much. I think you have another stream of income. How much did my husband pay you to give me that speech today? I know he's sitting up here like loving it. I needed that, Kim. Thank you so much, and we'll talk later about how much more help I need, but great tips, and we all need that reminder, just like in everything from our prayer life, just from our financial life. Sometimes we just need that friendly reminder, like we can call on somebody that has more answers than we do, especially the one above, because a lot of times we forget to go there first, but I thank you so much. At this time, I'm going to have Mr. Jerry Foster, who's one of our senior faculty members. He's a brand strategist. He's worked for the hugest company on the planet in that market, Procter & Gamble.
He is a graduate of USC. He has won Business of the Year for the City of Los Angeles. And what else can I say about you, Jerry? His company is Dare to Be Different, and he is, we call him the evangelist of branding, because this brother preaches branding. So he's dedicated to the entrepreneur space, helping small to mid-sized businesses grow to large businesses. And he is our dear friend and one of our biggest supporters, and he was one of my skeptics, and I knew I had to get him at CEOSpace. First of all, his level of content when he teaches at CEOSpace will blow you away. And that's the other great thing about CEOSpace. There's no selling from the stage, so it's all pure content to empower you, that you walk away and that these people are not trying to sell you all week. They're all there on their own dime, tithing their time, giving back to you. So it's a very unique environment that we have for our private members. So Jerry Foster, if you could come.